this is the moment. This is the moment of what? That's a really interesting question. What is this the moment of? Do you realize that in this very moment, all things are possible? In this very moment, all things that could ever be thought are possible. There is no limitation in this moment. The only time a limitation comes into this moment is when we reach back and we drag all of that stuff from our past into this current moment, fill our mind with what we can't do, what we shouldn't do, what we were told not to do, what won't feel good, what will feel good. And when we drag all of that into this moment, we start living Groundhog Day. And we go into a repetitive cycle where our lives are constantly just repeating and repeating the same old story. I reflect back onto watching as a child the TV series All in the Family. You know, one of the most classic revolutionary series ever put on, and there were habits. Archie had habits. He would come in, he would say, he'd put his hat on the coat rack, put his coat up there, and he would say, "Edith, I'm home." And he would go to his chair, and he would be waiting. If she didn't come out fast enough, he says, "Where's my beer?" And the TV would go on. And you see, that was the pattern. So every day in Archie's world was a repeat of the day before. Have you ever been there? Did you ever watch your parents do that? Better yet, have you watched yourself do that? It's everywhere present, isn't it? We've been brainwashed into believing that a habit is something that's great. What if we have a habit that says, I will create a new and different and better day than any day before? So that every day we wake up, we start a process of recreating a life that is beyond. There's a point I want to make is that I really got clear on an aspect in talking with John on the side when he was here the other night. We were having a conversation. And we were having a conversation, we were talking about the similarities of what he saw as he went around the world teaching, and the similarities of what I see as I teach in a local area to a community. And the same thing happens. It's the same dynamic over and over and over again. He says, everyone I talk to knows what I'm going to say. Everybody I talk to has an understanding of the principles. He says, but what we have is we have a lot of people who do not do. We have a people who are not doers. They're talkers. You following where I'm going? And here's the thing that really became clear for me, because I have a pattern that I've been teaching. And my pattern is that the first thing we must do to create, we must imagine. Right? It is the imagination. It's the gift that sets us apart from all other of this animal species. Without imagination, we will be repetitive. We will be instinctual. We will be constantly doing the same thing over and over. But we have this imagination, and this imagination goes crazy and creates this big, huge, magnificent picture, right? And from that picture, we then build what? A desire. We desire to have what we've imagined. Now, if we've desired it and we've imagined it, why is it that we can't bring it forth into our lives? What's the difference that stops there from making the decision? And remember, when we make the decision is that point of consciousness where there is no turning around. You cannot turn back. You leave no other option possible. This is the missing ingredient that I haven't talked about recently. John highlighted it so clearly when he said it's because it was not our value. Do you see, we can imagine things that are magnificent in all aspects of life, but if it's not unique to the values that we have, it's just fluff